Welcome to the absolute middle of nowhere, South Africa, somewhere, goodness knows where, between Cape Town to the south and Namibia to the north. A very special location to drive a fairly special car. This is the new Land Rover Defender Octa. In fact, I've been driving it for 10 hours today just to get here. And this is what I thought. So here we are in the Octa, goodness knows where. I'm going to try to kind of take you through the various areas of the car, explain a bit more about what it has, what it does, and why it does it that way. So start with the obvious, the engine. It's a 4.4 litre BMW sourced twin turbo V8, so not the Jaguar V8 that was in the 110 and is still in the 90 Defender. This is essentially, I'm told, the engine from the new M5 less its hybrid component. So 626 horsepower, 750 newton meters of torque, 0 to 60 of 3.8 seconds, top speed 155. And not on these sorts of roads, and indeed not on these sorts of tires, because today we are on the ultra off-road triple ply Goodyear rubber, which is supplied if you want. If you have these tires on this car as standard, it comes factory programmed to not do more than 99 miles an hour. If it comes without these tires, with a normal tire, normal all-terrain tire, it comes programmed to do 155. You can then buy a set of these wheels and tires and bung them on. I'm just saying that. If you buy it with the all-terrains on from new, your car will never, I guess unless you go and talk very sweetly to your dealer, do more than 99 miles an hour. So it's got a pretty monstrous engine in it. Which, given the price, it probably needs to. Actually, far more interesting is the chassis. So, they have gone through it completely. It's got lots of new hardware bits in it. The car is raised. The roll centers have been lowered to compensate for that. It's got a wider track. It's got a much quicker steering rack. But the really trick stuff are the dampers, which are hydraulically interlinked dampers. And actually owe far more to the McLaren way of thinking than anything that's ever been seen on a Defender before. And it just allows a huge amount of bandwidth in terms of what the car can do. So it provides the car with much more wheel control, but at the same time much more axle articulation. So it can go further and it can go faster. That's the really trick stuff. They fiddled with the outside as well, new bumpers front and rear, so the approach and departure angle's a bit better, but that's not really that important. Huge Brembo brakes, of course, that's kind of goes with the territory. But it's really, if you're out here driving this car, I know probably in the way that not many owners will drive it, certainly on kind of terrain that not many owners will drive it, but nevertheless in the way that the car has been designed to be driven and the kind of terrain on which it was designed to be driven, it's the chassis. It's all about the chassis. It is, to be honest, pretty astonishing how quickly you can make this thing go in apparent safety on, well, not really even roads. There have been times today when we have been hoofing along and the limiting factor is the cloud of dust from the car in front, despite the fact that it's at least half a mile away. You can go at monstrous speeds on the rough in this because the suspension just takes it. That's the thing with this car. It's not so much what it will do. It probably will take you places that a normal Defender won't because it's got a bit more articulation than those approach and departure angles, but that's not really the point. It's the way that it does it. It is the ease with which it allows you to drive like a complete lunatic along what to the naked eye seems to be very challenging terrain, and the car apparently barely notices it. Yeah, I have to say that is very impressive. So this car is still a Defender. But what it isn't, and what it would be remiss for me to suggest it might be, is like a sort of a 110 turned up a bit. It still has the, for want of a less excruciating cliche, a Defender DNA. But it is so much more. It is so much more. It is, without a doubt, in terms of what I want a Land Rover to do, which is not the same as what I want a Range Rover to do, but just pure off-road ability. It is, without doubt, the most capable Land Rover product I have ever driven. by a mile. Whether that makes it worth that kind of money is another question. I guess the fact that, you know, they've created 2,000 of these first edition cars, and I am told every single one has an owner, it tells you what you need to know. Whatever you and I might think, the market certainly seems to think that it's the right kind of car. And, you know, having spent all this time out here in a fairly pristine wilderness with one of these things looking after me, it is quite hard to disagree.